Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about just crafting your story. And I know we briefly talked about this before, but I would really, really love for you all to take some time tonight as we are talking. I'll give you guys a few minutes here and there to just write down, different things to help you craft your story, basically. One second. Okay. So I wanted to just first see how are your guys' team cups going? Are you guys staying involved daily and working with one another? Thumbs up, yeah? Okay, awesome. Team Cup is so huge, so really be pushing each other. If you're not a part of a Team Cup, just hook up with whether it's your upline or somebody else that helps motivate you in the team, and you guys can, have a success partner. At least you have somebody to work with, help push you. Our team has set some goals for ourselves and our team, so we're keeping in contact every single day, asking how each other is doing. So if you're not doing that, I suggest you do. Also, we have our size group and our 21-day fix group that opened up on, yesterday. We are still in the preseason mode, so you can still invite to that. So typically I'll invite up until Friday of this week. And that way I can sneak the last couple people in there, especially because the 21-day fix is only on sale a couple more days. So really use that to your advantage and be talking about that. And if you're not in any of those and you want to be in those groups, just let me know and we will get you added into that. Another thing that I would love to start up is a Bible-based business group. So basically what it's going to be is every day I'm just going to share a Bible verse and I'm going to tie it to our business life. And so, that's totally up to you if you want to participate or not. I will open that up probably tonight, but we won't start until Monday. So if you want to be a part of that, just let me know and we'll get you into that group. So it's going to be kind of just a daily, something to think about, something to motivate you and help you to just, get a different perspective maybe on your business. All right. So tonight, like I had mentioned, I want to talk to you about your story. This is exactly what is going to set you apart from any other coach. A lot of people make the mistake as a new coach to be posting pictures of, just got my workout in, yay, or, just sharing your Shakeology, which is great. Don't get me wrong. It's great to make sure people know and see that you are actually doing these things. But if that's all you're doing, then you will not stand out from any other coach. And because there are over, 300,000 coaches, you need to stand out individually. You need to give somebody a reason to follow you and to work with you. So the saying goes, facts tell and stories sell. So you really need to think about, who you are. So our first question would be that you guys should write down is, what events molded me? So think about what events in your life you have been through. It could be more than one that has molded you into the person that you are today. For example, major one of mine is the fact that I got pregnant at 19 years old. I wasn't married. I was a college student. I grew up, you know, in a godly home. So it was a big shock to my family, to everybody around me, my friends, everything. And that kind of set my course for this transition in my life, where I had to choose, you know, do I become that statistic and allow my situation to, you know, get me down, or do I kind of change a new path in my life? And I can relate this to a road. So, you know, if you're taking a certain road in life and you have an end goal, and, you know, your path is, let's say it's a straight line, obviously you're going to have some bends and, you know, things, but when I got pregnant at 19, it was a big detour. But what I realized is it didn't have to take me down a whole nother path to get me to a different point in my life. It was just a detour that was bringing me back on course eventually to reach my same goals. And that's exactly what you want to think about. You know, what are the things in your life that maybe have done that? Maybe it was tragedy. Maybe it was, you know, just a big life change that happened. Some of these things can be scary. Some people have gone through stuff in their life that maybe they've never, ever shared with anybody else. Maybe you know, have struggled with addictions. Maybe you have struggled with depression. Maybe you have struggled with eating disorders. Maybe you have struggled with, gosh, I don't know, anything. Those are the things that you want to have the courage to talk about, because although it's our nature, that's like exactly the opposite. We don't want to talk about those things because maybe we feel ashamed, or we feel like people will judge us. That is the exact reason why people will follow you and why people will want to work with you. I promise you. So it does take you being bold to actually come out and say certain things, but it's a way for you to connect and also, honestly, support. There's a lot of people that I never knew went through situations. Even I grew up with some people, I never knew that they went through similar situations that I did. And maybe they didn't keep the baby, but you know, we can relate in a way that I would have never been able to before. And it's led into deeper relationships and into, you know, business opportunities. So think about those events. I really want you to take a minute and jot down a couple of things that would be an idea to help get this story formed. So you can go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so our second thing is going to be, well, I guess we kind of did this one already, sorry. So what are your struggles? So currently, today, so the first one was kind of in your past. What helped shape you from events in the past? And some of them might be currently going on, but it's more of an event. The second one is, what are your struggles today? So, for example, you know, maybe you used to have a food addiction. Maybe today you still struggle with the fact that you want to eat that chocolate, you know, or maybe it's the fact that, you know, you're considered a fit girl, but you actually hate working out and you have to force yourself on a day-to-day basis to work out. You know, whatever it is, write down what you're currently struggling with. Could be confidence. It could be, trying to think of some other ones. All right. So our third big point is, what do you stand for? So I want you to just think about yourself. I mean, this doesn't have to be like a religious thing, but what do you stand for in life? Do you like, do you want everybody to just be optimistic? Do you stand for, maybe you're a military spouse, or, you're standing for our freedom and for, what our country is and things like that. Just think about what you stand for. To kind of tie my story in, I would say that I stand for pro-life, and that, going through what I went through with my pregnancy, I stand for people understanding that there is a better way, and that there is hope, and that they don't have to let situations dictate them, that they still have a future regardless of their situations. That's like a huge, huge thing that I stand for. Okay. So those are the three huge things that will create your story. The fourth thing that I want you to think about is how you have overcome these things, and how you, although you may struggle with these things, although you may stand for this thing, what is it that on a day-to-day basis you're doing to overcome it? I'll give you an example from when I was 19 and pregnant. One thing I did was I read my Bible religiously whenever I was having panic attacks. I mean, there's way more to this story than what I'm just saying right now. But so I was pregnant at 19. Me and my boyfriend broke up like a month before our baby was due. Had a horrible relationship. He is now my husband, but we broke up, and it was horrible. I was alone. We were living 6 hours away from each other. I didn't know if he was going to be in my child's life. There was a lot of fear that I was going through at that time. And so how did I get through it? I filled myself up with positivity, with my personal development, with reading my Bible, standing on the truths that God had for me rather than the world's truths of all these, statistics. And I surrounded myself with people that loved me. So that is how I got through that. Obviously, with every situation, you're going to have a different way to get through it. So, you could relate that to food. How do you get through those food cravings? How do you get through those times when you don't feel like working out? When you're exhausted and you were up all night with your kids and you just want to pull your hair out? Like, what do? You need to provide this solution to people so that they can see, look, this person went through all this and this is how they dealt with it. I can do that too. So provide some sort of solution in there as your number 4. So you can just jot down a couple ideas right now for that. Okay, so that is going to be your assignment after tonight, is going to be to actually write out your story. I want you guys to really spend time thinking about this, because although, like I said, it might be scary, these are the things that are going to set you apart from people. These are the things that is going to give you that deep connection that people will just be attracted to you. And truthfully, you want to attract people that are like you. So this is the best way to do that. On our call from Summit recap, we had talked about breadcrumbing. And so basically what breadcrumbing is, especially when you're posting on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, you don't want to come out and just give them like the whole shebang and like give them this ooey gooey gobby like teary-eyed story, you know, as to all the details of what you've been through. But you can share little things here and there as to, you know, what it is that kind of makes you you. For example, the other day I shared a little bit about how before I became a Beachbody coach, I was lonely. I was living in a town where I didn't know anybody. My husband was either at football because he was coaching, or he was with his father who had had a stroke. And I felt very alone. I felt like I was raising 2 kids in a foreign place by myself. And because at the time, I did have a stay-at-home job as well. I was never out meeting people. I didn't have, you know, a connection with friends or coworkers rather. So I was alone, and I would sit and watch TV and drink wine at night. Like that is what I did. And I could have very well seen that as a foreseeable problem in my life if I didn't change, because it was becoming a habit. And like, that's something I never told anybody. Like I actually just told my mom that, and she was like, what? Like, I didn't know this was going on. But I feel like a lot of moms can relate to that. It can be very, very lonely, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom. And so I just shared a little piece of that story about how I felt so alone, and, you know, drinking wine and watching, you know, Netflix at night was like my thing. And I didn't feel like I had a purpose until I found Beachbody. And so I didn't give them that whole story, but I gave them a little piece of it. And just so that people can see, wow, Beachbody is more than just a job. It's a community. It builds you up. So breadcrumbing is just throwing these little tidbits of your story out there, something that people will be drawn into you, something where they can connect to you, but not giving them the full story. A great idea, though, you can give them more of a full picture. Create a YouTube video. Create a blog post. So if you give them this little breadcrumb on Instagram, let's say, then you would say, for the full story, go visit my blog or go visit my YouTube. Then you're directing them to another outlet of yours, which will help to gain attraction to it. And there they can see, you know, the full picture, the full story. So think about that. Whenever you're posting, you know, I would say, honestly, every single day, you should have a little piece of you into every post that you do, and talk about just real life and what you are going through. So with that said, I do want to touch base, and I know I've talked about this before, but I want to touch base about how your story, so if you're sharing these things, that should tie into your target market, which will be your hashtags on Facebook or on Instagram, and also, you know, what you hashtag yourself. So what you're searching as hashtags and what you're hashtagging yourself. So I just want to give you a couple little things to think about, so you can write these down. So you're going to think about your story, obviously, and think about the struggles. And, you know, for example, you know, there's like eating disorders, or ED is a hashtag. That's ones that you can search. You can like all those photos. You can comment on people's things. Say, I went through a similar thing. How are you doing? Connect with people as much as you can on Instagram, and Facebook too. But Instagram, I feel you have a much more broad and more specific niche. So like or Facebook, you can't like really look up people and comment on their stuff like that. Instagram, you can. So think about your story, then think about who you are. So that's a very broad thing. That's, your age, your gender, whether you're a mom, maybe you're a stepmom, maybe you're, I don't know, an athletic trainer, a nurse, a waitress. So think about who you are and truly define that to a T. Because, for example, even on your like page, if you choose to do an ad, so like you can pay $5 a day to get your page boosted, and you want to know exactly who your target market is, you can actually put in there the age bracket. So obviously you're going to want that around your age. Okay. So all of this matters. It might seem crazy right now, but I promise it matters. That includes like ages of your children, or if you're pregnant, or if you are nursing, all of these things you need to think about. So define yourself in little things, who you are. I want you to make a list. Then what you enjoy. So things outside of your health and fitness. Are you a photographer? Are you a runner? Do you like to do marathons? Do you like triathlons? Do you like to go swimming? Do you like to ski? What is it that you enjoy doing? What are your hobbies? Those are also things that you want to hashtag. What movies do you like? Are you into comedies? Is there a love story that you really love? So what movies? What books? These are also things on your personal page that you can choose that you like. And it seems silly, but if you have on your personal page all the different things that you're into, people, when they look at you, will be like, oh, like she loves Grey's Anatomy. I want to, we're going to have something in common to talk about. So that you should fill all that stuff out too. Your location. So, obviously where you live, or maybe places that you like to visit, maybe your favorite, place to go. Think about stores and clothes. So where would you shop? Where would somebody like you shop? Those are also things to hashtag. So, whether it's Nike or Under Armour or Lululemon, or maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's something more dressy. Maybe you like BB, or, whatever. Just think about the different stores, which I know none of this is health and fitness related, but if you hashtag these things, you're going to attract people that like the same things that you do and see your page and be like, oh, wow, like she's into health and fitness and she likes photography. That's awesome. So that is the purpose of hashtagging things not fitness related. And as I had mentioned, okay, so hobbies, think about hobbies. This also, if you have kids, like I use mom of 3 or toddler mom, or mom to boys, stuff like that. So, if you're like, I'll use daily devotions for whenever I share, more of my Bible stuff, or Made to Crave when we went through that book. So one thing you don't want to be hashtagging is the 21-day fix, or T25, or PIO, because only Beachbody coaches are hashtagging that. So you're not going to find people off of those hashtags. Okay, so don't hashtag Beachbody coach. Other people aren't searching to find their Beachbody coach by that hashtag, I promise. You could tag, hashtag fit nurse, or, whatever. That's more of a niche market. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this call up early tonight because I want you guys to go and write your story. I want you to think about it, let it marinate. You might need to write it a few times, add some things in, but show people who you are, and do not be afraid, because there are people who are going through the same thing that you have been through, and they need you. They need you because what you did to help you get out of it. And maybe you don't know, and maybe that person is going to connect with you and they're going to say, look, I've been through that. I'm here. I can help you. I can give you advice. I can be here to comfort you. So this is so important, to be real to who you are, be real to your story, and to share it with the world. Like I said, I know it can be scary. And, Brittany Plummer on our call last night for our cup team, she even said, this is something that I never have really shared with many people. And I just recently, now she's a coach of 2 years, and she just recently has, had the courage to come out and speak about what she has been through. So I don't know, Britt, do you want to say anything?
Well, I just was listening to a call, I think, about how it's so important for coaches to share their story. And I mean, not everyone's story is super dramatic, and it doesn't have to be. You don't have to look for something that was like completely devastating, because I was sitting there and I was like, I don't really have anything. Like, there's nothing really for me to share besides the fact that I'm an athletic trainer. I'm always all over, and I moved to West Virginia out of the blue. But as I was sitting there, I'm like, okay, well, I like kept feeling like this nudge to like tell my real story. And I mean, even to this day, there's like, I don't come out and talk about it. So when I heard this story, it was about like another coach sharing like their story and not wanting like other people to know. They explained how they did it, and just like little by little, like breadcrumbing, you share, and people will start to like comment, or like people you don't even know will start to message you. So I started out with hashtagging things in my story. So mine was an eating disorder for like 4 years. So I hashtag stuff that I knew that they would be looking for. Some of them are like ed recovery, ed family. Some of them are, you want, like, if that relates to any of you, you want to be really careful, because some people's pictures are pro and you don't want to be liking those. So depends on what your story is, but just make sure you look through your hashtags first so you know what you're liking, because you don't want to encourage any bad behavior. So I know there might be some stories about like suicide or any of that, and you don't want to be liking any that would be positive. Mm-hmm. So just be careful. There's some I won't hashtag because it is kind of encouraging the behavior. So I don't really go to those. I'm also an athletic trainer, so I hashtag that type of stuff. But that's how I started. I started out small. I still didn't really have the courage to share with anyone. So I started the hashtag, and I was like, oh, maybe people won't notice. And then as I continued, I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll just share a little bit about this, or I'll share about body image, but people won't really think it's me. And then like, as I started to share little bits and pieces, I started to have more courage to share more about my story. I don't think to this day I've actually like put the whole story out there, but I put parts, and most people now like kind of know what's been going on. So you don't have to sit there and write the whole story out if you're not comfortable with it.
Right. So the purpose of you actually writing your whole story now isn't to share the whole thing now. It's just to help you, number one, get everything out on paper, and to pull bits and pieces from that, as Brittany said, breadcrumb. Just share little things. And it doesn't have to be like, whoa, I was pregnant at 19. Like I did, for example, I did a post the other day that just gave a statistic, and it was saying, I forget, it was like 2/3 of teen pregnancies don't, I forget what it was. I'm horrible. But it was like are poor. There we go. They end up being poor. And so I kind of geared that more towards my, beach body coaching, but the opportunity that it has, and, it doesn't matter your situation. That's basically what I had going on with that. But I didn't say, everything about my story. So you can share things like that, think about different statistics maybe that relate to your situation, and how, maybe you didn't fall into that statistic. Maybe you did, but now you've made a decision to change. So, there's no right or wrong way to do it. But as Brittany said, start out small, use little bits and pieces, and you eventually will gain the confidence, and maybe people will start to ask you about certain things. But it's an empowering thing rather than something that you should be ashamed of. Like, I remember being just so ashamed of being 19 and pregnant, and like walking around without a ring on my finger, and I looked like a baby, myself. And so it was like embarrassing for me to walk around like that. Like, you can't hide that you're pregnant, So it was like wearing that scarlet letter, on me all the time. And it took a while for me to get over that. And then realize, then I was like, wait, like, I can help somebody in this situation. So I kind of got over myself. You kind of have to get over yourself and be like, you know what? Like, I'm not the first teenage pregnancy. Like, come on, So, just get over that and realize, once again, like coaching itself, we're here to help people. And that's all your story is meant to do. So tonight, write it out. If you have questions about it, feel free to message me, but you don't have to put everything out there. And if you can just do things slowly, then you'll gain the confidence to talk more about it, and you will see the pickup in your following, and you will see the more and more people will be, maybe messaging you or what have you. I mean, I have so many people that confide in me now about pregnancy, or about their unmarried, or there are teenagers that are pregnant. They come to me first, and I don't even know them. So I would have never, ever imagined that, when I was 19 and was so embarrassed and ashamed of myself, that today I would be able to help people that I don't even know who confide in me. So just be brave and get that story going, so that you can start to share it with the world, and you can stand out and be unapologetically you to the whole world. So thank you guys so much for jumping on. Do you guys have any questions about this little assignment? No? Okay. Awesome. Well, have a wonderful night. I hope you can spend at least 15 minutes after this call to devote to that assignment. And if you could comment on, I'll do a little post about our call. And if you could comment on that, just letting us know that you have completed it, I would really appreciate it. All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for jumping on, and kill the team cup. This is like team competition here. I think the winner is going to get a pretty awesome prize. So whatever team gets the most Success Club points, I got something cool for you, your whole team. All right. Rock on, guys. See you later. Oh, and tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. for any of you guys who want to jump on, 6 a.m. Eastern, or not tomorrow. I'm sorry. My days are off. Thursday. I'm used to doing Wednesday night calls for so long. Thursday morning, 6 a.m. is our early bird power hour time. So if you want to join us, get your business rocking. It's a great way to start. So hope to see you then. Bye, guys.